Hi, this is Erin from Blossy Bee. Welcome to my channel. The plan for this video is to celebrate spring and to make a thank you present for a lovely gift of vibrant daffodils. And to do that, I'm going to use artwork featuring daffodils and Maine Coon cats and the Mod Podge image transfer technique to decorate some little houses. Here in Tasmania, spring has sprung. Yay! And look at what a beautiful friend gave me. All of these. Now, luckily, I know all of the scientific names, so I can, let you know what they are. This one is called a regular daffodil. This one's called a fluffy daffodil. This one's called a bit of an orange centre daffodil. This one's like an apricot fluffy daffodil. Oh dear, look. Oh, I definitely don't know all of their names, but I know they are just so beautiful. I feel very lucky to have these in my kitchen at the moment. A huge big vase full. So, as a little thank you to her and an acknowledgement to spring, my project today is going to be to do with daffodils. And she also has Maine Coon cats. So, I thought, why not combine the two? So, this is the design we're going to be working with today. We've got very handsome little Maine Coon down there. One cleaning himself there. Another one standing guard up there. All with beautiful daffodils around. So, I'd better get all the actual daffodils packed up back into a vase and get started. So the image you see in front of you is created from multiple files I've downloaded from Creative Fabrica. Downloaded the different Maine Coons, 2 different files, and a couple of different daffodil files as well. So I've combined all of those together in Microsoft Publisher. I print them out in the way that if I sit them onto the houses, they look fine, but then before applying the paper using the Mod Podge image transfer method, I need to flip the image, and then I very carefully measure and cut so that I've got each image ready for each house, and these ones I've done so that they connect with the next one. Now, the little houses are made out of AR400 Eco Casting Powder, which is a mixture that is an acrylic resin, and it is mixed with water. And if you would like to see me making little houses with this mould, I'll link a couple of videos below. I didn't include it in this video because I have shown making them several times. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the Mod Podge, and I'm just using the matte version here. I'm putting a nice even coat on both the surface of the house and onto the paper. After I've applied that coat, I'm going to carefully lay it down on top of the little house and then smooth it out so I make sure I've got no bubbles or wrinkles. And it does allow you to reposition it for probably up to a minute or so, which is really good if you've completely got it in the wrong place. And because these moulds of the little houses have the little heart at the top and the little windows and the door, I've taken all of that into account when I designed my image with a little template I've made up, and that means that I'm not going to be missing any key parts of the image. So after smoothing that out, I'll then go and clean the work surface, my silicone mat, so it's ready for the next one. I'm just going to go ahead and repeat the process with the middle-sized one. And just interestingly about daffodils, they are definitely not native to Tasmania. They originally came from countries around Europe and almost certainly would have been brought here by the early colonists of Australia. And they have really adapted very well to our climate, certainly where I live, and they have become a very popular plant. Often if you have them in sort of a paddock or a larger garden, they will multiply, and you just have more every year, which is always extremely handy. They're also the flower that represents our Cancer Council in Australia and I believe in other parts around the world. And so you usually have like a daffodil day. They're a really strong symbolic flower as well. They often are used to symbolise new beginnings and hope. And I think, especially where I live, they're one of the first beautiful flowers to pop up after winter. So we often think of them as celebrating the beginning of spring, which is really lovely. You may have heard that daffodils are dangerous for people to eat, and they are. They're toxic to humans, dogs, cats and horses, and that's because the plant contains a chemical and that can induce really severe gastrointestinal symptoms when it's eaten. And the most toxic part of the whole plant is actually the bulb, and that's quite problematic because people often mistake the bulb for an onion and so might use it as a food like that. And the plant also has these tiny little microscopic needle-shaped crystals which can irritate the skin, nose and throat. And for some people, just touching or even sniffing daffodils can cause a terrible skin rash, and they might also have pain and burning in their mouth, nose and throat. But on the positive side, daffodils have also been used for a very long time as a traditional medicine to induce vomiting and to help with creating numbness when needed. And interestingly, they also contain this alkaloid chemical which has been discovered to slow the progression of Alzheimer's disease. So they do actually make a synthetic version of that now, but daffodils are still grown and harvested for the chemical, and it is used in the treatment of Alzheimer's. So a fascinating plant all around. I can't help but smile when I see the daffies in the background there. They just make me so happy. They're a very cheerful flower. So after applying the Mod Podge to the images and then sticking them down onto the little houses, I let them dry for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then it is time to start using water to reveal that transferred image. I have sped this up because it is quite a long process. You are basically just wetting the surface and rubbing your fingers gently over it, and as you do that, the paper will start rolling up and coming off. And my top tip here is just slow and steady. if you rub too much in one spot, you run the risk of removing part of the image. Look at that pussycat. I've always loved Maine Coons. They are just utterly majestic. And I think they're one of the largest and oldest, actually, cat breeds in the world. And of course, with their name, they come from Maine. But I wondered, did you know why they're called Maine Coons? It's biologically impossible, but the folk tales used to say that they were the result of a long-haired cat mating with a raccoon, and that's why they were called Maine Coon cats, because they do have those distinctive rings around their tails like a raccoon does. But, of course, as I said, we know that's genetically impossible. They're just magnificent all on their own. And they've also got the most beautiful, friendly and sociable personalities and temperament. And, yeah, they're also just a super great all-rounder cat. So I love that my friend has these Maine Coons, and I hope she enjoys the fact that I've tied these two things together for her. So I'm just using a toothpick now, and I'm going in and removing any of the image that is covering one of those little holes, so the windows, the door, and the little heart up the top, and just making sure that they're all nice and smooth. Now, I did, if you see there, I did have a teeny little bit of the image in the large one come away. And so I didn't film this part, and I'm sorry about that, but this is how to fix it. When it's dry, you find a little replacement piece of image. It could be from a whole fresh new sheet, or it could just be a piece of paper with an image on it that you think would be camouflaged in there. And you pop a little bit of Mod Podge on the bare part, apply that image down again, wait till it dries, and then just smooth it off. So it will work. So you can see when I show you these and I'm applying resin, you won't be able to see that little spot again. So I'm going to go ahead and use my beautiful River Art resin. It is an epoxy resin, and it comes in a 2:1 ratio. And I'm just going to measure out just a small little amount for these ones. Sometimes when I am using a top coat on these houses, if I've used decals with an edge to them, I'll add a little bit of glitter because that helps to disguise those edges. But because I've used the Mod Podge image transfer method, there is no need to do that. So you can just pop completely clear resin over the top, which will give it a very resilient finish. Now, although I used full PPE when I mixed up the resin, I have taken my gloves and mask off now. I'm working in a very well ventilated area. I'm quite happy that I'm using an acrylic paddle pop stick, and I'm not actually touching the resin. So you can choose to wear your gloves all through this process. It's one of the few times that I don't wear gloves working with resin. I really do not find doming or top coating easy. I struggle with it. I don't know whether it's an eyesight thing, whether it's to do with depth perception, but so all I do is I pop a little bit of resin on, and then I use my tool to spread it as close as possible to the edges, keeping in mind that after a few minutes sometimes the resin does shrink back, so it is worth going in and checking again. This is a beautifully bubble-free resin that I've mixed up, so I'm not concerned about any micro bubbles or any other bubbles forming, but I do just work slowly and carefully, do the best I can to give them that nice glossy finish. Now, even though I don't show in this video, I do go ahead and I use the Bua Nicole soft wax to finish off the sides and the back of each of the houses, and I make sure that I wait until that resin has cured until I do that. And because it's fully cured resin, if you get any wax onto it accidentally as you're applying it, you can very easily just buff that off the top. So they are starting to look so pretty. As soon as you add the resin on, they absolutely come to life. The Mod Podge image transfer can look quite dull while you're working on them, especially as they dry out from the water. And it does sometimes still look like there's a little film of paper over the top of the image, which I'm sure there is. But when you apply a wax or a varnish or resin, it keeps it very vibrant and protects it beautifully. I will put a link to the resources that I've used in the description box below, and I will also link to Creative Fabrica for a place that you can go and get really stunning images that are ready to go. Most of them have transparent backgrounds, which is really handy if you aren't computer savvy and you want to work with images. And don't be afraid of mixing and matching images and building up little scenes of your own. And I have a lot of fun doing that. And as I said in the beginning, I like to work out how these scenes will look across these little houses, keeping in mind they go from large through to small, and making sure that every part has its own focal point, or that it looks good standing alone. After the top coat has cured, I'm really happy with them. They look super pretty, and I really hope that my friend likes them, and I hope you enjoyed watching me make these decorated little houses with our daffodil and Maine Coon theme. For those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, happy spring. It's a very exciting time of the year, definitely full of hope that we can get out of some of this glum weather that we've been experiencing. And if you stay tuned to the end, I'll show you some photos. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it very much. If you enjoyed, please give me a thumbs up and a like. And I would love to read any comments you make below. Just let me know what you'd like to see me do, or if there are any questions you have. And of course, it really helps me if you click on the subscribe button. It means that you won't miss out on any videos, and I get to share my crafting journey with you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.